Welcome to the Indie NYC show. I'm Jeanna Lue, and today our guest is A.R. Garcia. He's not only a playwright, but a screenwriter, director, actor, and blogger. In 2013, he won Best Writer and Actor at the One Festival for his off-Broadway play, I Love Them All. And in 2015, he received a OLA nomination for his one-man play, The Broken Bachelor. What really inspired you to write about that topic, relationships?
At that point in my life, I was in a relationship, and I was trying to understand my role in the relationship.
Okay.
Especially when it came to misunderstandings and the fighting and the arguments. When you're a writer, people always ask you, is this story about you? Which is funny because when I Love Them All, people were coming up to me and hugging me because it's such a tragic story and oh my God, it's so messed up. And I'm like, no, I actually came from a really great family. And in She Hates Coffee, people that know about it and that have come to the readings and have heard tidbits and when you tell them that it's a story about a guy that gets left at the altar and gets into another relationship very quickly, and they say, well, did you get left at the altar? I was like, no, thank God. But what it is it was me trying to understand where the frustrations come from, and more so trying to give a voice that hasn't been given an opportunity. Often these stories about relationships and love and pain and heartbreak are usually told from a female's perspective, from a woman's perspective. Even when it's about a man, they tell it through a woman's lens. And I understand why they do it. They do it because it's more marketable.
Yeah.
It's more appealing, and they just don't believe or trust that people want to hear our side of things. So it was me trying to break the stigma that people have about men and how they view and what their perception is on their relationships and love and pain. And usually the stigma is that, men have ice running through their veins.
Yeah.
They don't hurt. They don't get hurt in their relationships.
Yeah.
They don't feel pain, that they don't speak about their relationships. And it usually stems from, depending on what your culture is. Me as a Latino, you're taught from a very young age, don't cry. You fall. I mean, they do that to men, right? Like, as a little boy, you fall, and they say, don't cry, you're a boy.
Right.
And it's acceptable. If a little girl falls and she cries, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But they kind of implement that in your head from very, very young, that you're supposed to hide your emotions, that it's not acceptable for you to express that you're in pain or that you're feeling vulnerable. It's just not something that's acceptable.
Yeah,
and
it's taboo.
Even it's taboo, and men do it to each other. Even regular conversation, if it's not somebody that you trust, like, oh, you sound kind of soft. And that's what the play's about. How this man, and his boys, how they interact with the women in their lives that are in this play, and them talking about these vulnerabilities and showing it, and still not shedding any of their masculinity, and showing them that they get hurt, how they feel when they get hurt, how they deal with how they get hurt, also how they make bad choices in relationships.
Can you talk a little bit about the process in getting She Hates Coffee to the Hamilton stage? Like, what, for future playwrights out there that want to see their work on the stage, like, how do you go about? Is it just having a producer, being interesting?
You've got to do it.
Okay.
You really just have to do it.
Okay.
You have to be motivated, and unfortunately, it's a huge issue that most artists have. We want to be all art and no business.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you have to have an extremely high tolerance for the business. And you have to be able to learn how to motivate yourself, because nobody's going to give you anything. So it took me 12 years It wasn't the first play that I put up, although it is the first play that I wrote. But there was a reason for it. You know, it's God's time. It was going to happen in God's time, not in mine. But a production of this level it takes a lot of work, and I needed the right people. I don't do this alone. It seems like it, but I don't at all. I have a tremendous team, but the process it's difficult. You have to have all your ducks in a row. You have to know what you want. You have to know what your audience is and how you want to target them. You have to know where you want to put it up and you have to have a plan. You have to have a goal, and all of those things have to match up with your vision. Okay. And you have to be extremely persistent in carrying out your vision. I've always said that I had a dream 12 years ago to be a writer. The problem I always thought that with us as artists is that we keep dreaming. So the minute you have the dream, be sure of that dream, and then don't go to sleep no more.
I like that.
Don't go to sleep no more. Now it's time to actually actualize that dream. Because what happens is you keep dreaming, what's going to happen? Nothing.
Right.
You're going to stay in the proverbial bed, and you're never going to get up to do anything.
Right.
And my team will tell you I don't sleep. Like, I'm up at all hours of the night. Until this production is done, I'm not done. Okay. And you just have to work harder than everybody. You have to place really great people around you that are going to do what they're supposed to do, and you have to bring it.
Now that you've had all these projects under your belt, what advice would you give yourself, your old self, at the start of your journey?
I did a lot of procrastinating in the beginning, a lot of self-doubt. Okay. It took me a long time to have the view that I have now. I think that also sometimes comes with time, but I would have told myself what I tell other people now: do it. I believe people always say that you should think outside the box. Because what ends up happening is that the box represents comfortability. It represents a safety net. So you can think outside the box and actually jump out of that box. But as long as that box is around, if you feel like you're going to fail, you'll jump right back in the box. And that is ultimately what almost everybody does. Huh. But if you remove the box, then you got nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. You can push your story, you can push your vision, you can push yourself, you can push all of your limits as far as you want, because there's nowhere
you're limitless.
Yeah. You're limitless. And that's basically it. I would tell my old self all of these platitudes that people tell you. You know, you gotta push the envelope. They're not enough. Mm-hmm. Especially as a minority, you can't push no envelope. And nobody's trying to hear that. You gotta shove your envelope. Yeah. You know, people tell you, oh, you know, you just gotta, you know, one day a door will open. No, one day a door won't open. You know, you can knock as hard as you want. They don't want the door to open. You have to build your own door. You got to build your own house. You got to build your own production. You got to build your own product. You got to build your own art. Yeah. And then you have to push it and shove it and realize that you cannot go back to where you came from. And in the beginning, I always thought that, well, you know, as a business, because I was successful, because I've been successful as a businessman, I said, well, I could always fall back on that. And it wasn't until years later that I said, well, I'm going to sell my business. I literally sold my business at its peak so I can pursue writing. Wow. I said, so I'll go work for someone so I can make my own business in art. And that was the ultimate, all right, I'm going to believe in me. I'm going to put all the money on me. Yeah. I'm going to bet on black. Yeah. And 6 months later, I won my first award off Broadway. Wow. Because I removed the box. Yeah. If I hadn't done that, then who knows? Yeah. Wow. So She Hates Coffee opens November 9th, 10th, and 11th at the Hamilton Stage at the Union County Performing Arts Center in Raleigh, New Jersey. You can get your tickets at shehatescoffee.com. And in February, we will be off Broadway in New York.
Okay. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and sharing such awesome words of inspiration, because I know I'm inspired.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.